Hi, I'm Lizzie. Thank you so much for joining us for completing the second part of our webinar series for completing a community health needs assessment with BroadStreet. So having said all that, yes, we can also help you with your IRS requirements. We can help you to define the community you serve, describe demographics in your community, assess the health of your community, document the community health needs assessment in a written report, and make the community health needs assessment widely available to the public. One thing we cannot help with is receiving input from stakeholders. However, you can add this information to your report on BroadStreet once you have collected the data. Now that we are oriented, let's begin. I'm going to do a cooking show style and show you the final, fully baked report first before we show you the steps on how to make it. You can see I customized the report. I changed the banner color, I changed the logo, and I changed the featured image. I even added a new section. The data is interactive, so when we scroll over or click on the card, it gives us a better idea of the health indicator. We can even enlarge the card for a better look at the data. Let's look here at the ADI map. So we can also see the collaborators at the bottom. We can share this report through a link. We can press share, copy link as read only, and then paste it in a new tab. And we can print it as a PDF. To print it as a PDF, we can go to File, Print, Open in PDF Preview, and here is a PDF of our report. So first, we will create the community indicator report. It will have important information such as demographics and health outcomes. Now that we've seen the finished product, let's go through the steps on how to create this. I'll show you how to edit and how to add branding. After, we'll explore how to build a story from scratch. So let's get started by clicking on the report we want to create. Let's click Community Indicator Report, which would be the most similar to a community needs assessment. Here you can decide if you'd like to create a new area or use an existing area. Let's click New Area. You can search by county list, zip code list, or by cities, towns, and villages for a comprehensive report. I used to live in the Chicago suburbs, so let's pull counties from there. We have Cook County, DuPage County, Will County, and say we have one hospital out here in LaSalle County. We'll call the report Chicago Webinar and then generate the area. When we generate the area, we can see what areas are included. The county list is the primary area, but if data is only available at the city level, we can use the city list. The city and zip codes are considered backup areas. Now we click Next. So that's it. We've done the secondary data analysis for you. This is the rough draft of the report with 0 edits. We can see the logo, date, title, collaborators, suggested text, and most importantly, the data. It's the same report I just showed you at the beginning, but we haven't customized it yet. If you would like to add other data in this report, you can add cards from the map room and other stories that you've run. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So obviously there are some things we want to edit. We showed you the share button before, so now we're going to use the edit button to edit the story. This is found in the upper right-hand corner. This is the story editor where we edit the story. The first thing we want to do is rename the story so we can easily find it. As you can see up top here, there's a settings button, a shuffle cards button, and a save button. Now, let's customize the report by adding a logo. You can do this by going to the settings, clicking Layout and Look, Colors and Brand, and then scrolling down to Logo. The next time we click View, we will be able to see our new logo in the header. We can also use Layout and Look to change things like the name of our organization, the hyperlink color, the favicon, and the story URL. We can also change the text. You can use a combination of our text, text from your old needs assessments, and new text. For example, let's say our community and Chicago and surrounding areas. We can delete any text we don't want. I want to move the education card up, and I can easily do that when the card is in shuffle mode. I can move the card up here because I think it's the most important. I'm going to favorite this card because I might want to use this data in other reports. Say I don't think this card on air pollution is that important, so I'm going to delete it. We can always add it back later. I really want to see the education card next to another hospital's service area. I also really like the health insurance card, and I'm going to favorite it to look at it side by side with other data. I'll come back to this in a moment. I'd still like to customize the report and change this featured image at the top. I also would like to add a new section. Then if you go to the right side of the screen, you can click Add New Section above. You have several options for what type of section you would like to add. I'm going to click on Just Header and Text. We can rename this section Primary Data Collection, and you can use this section to input information on your primary data collection. This will help you complete your IRS requirements. Here is the completed report. I'm going to pose another scenario to really demonstrate what cards can do. For example, what if you're on your way to a key stakeholder meeting and you want to compare the demographics of different areas? With cards, it's easy to create totally customizable stories. Let's go back to the home page and click Create New Story from Scratch. We'll name the story Chicago Health Stakeholder Meeting. You can see that we have a totally blank story. Let's rename section 1 to Comparing Data. Let's rename the bottom section to COVID Data. Now I want to add my favorite cards from the Community Indicator Report and other reports that I've generated to this blank report. There are 2 ways to do this, and I'll show you both ways. Let's go to our favorites, find the cards that you want, and press Save. We can add this to one section or multiple sections within the report. Now we can go back to our stories and see that the cards were added to the report. Let's edit it and add more cards. Now we can do the same thing we just did in favorites, but within our report. To compare data, let's go to My Saved Areas to create a new area. When creating a new area, the areas don't necessarily have to touch to generate the report. The data will be pulled from all of the areas included. Let's create an area for a health network that is only in Cook County. We can name it Chicago. Now I want to compare the areas and replace the area tags. So let's click the name of the area and replace the tag. We can see that the data easily changes. Now that we have the data side by side, we can see that the data is very similar. In this report, I want to add a couple sections. You can see all of the options you can add here. You can add new cards, another banner, just text, whatever you need to make your report successful. You can move this up and down as needed. Since we don't do primary data analysis, you can create sections for the interviews you conduct within your community to make sure the CHNA is compliant with the IRS requirements. So now that we've created 2 stories, let's head over to the map room and check out COVID data so we can add it to your CHNA this year. Let's go to Make a Map and Add Data. The Add Data pulls up the data dictionary, and you can see here that we have over 200 searchable indicators. We can create a map that showcases just COVID data by county, or you can compare COVID cases with another indicator like diabetes. I'm going to quickly save this to our COVID section. Now let's compare COVID cases and diabetes. We can go back to Add Data and then search for diabetes. When we save it to the map, we can scroll down and click the check mark so that diabetes also appears on the map. We can adjust the transparency for either COVID or diabetes so we can get a better understanding of the data. By adjusting the transparency, we can see that there are a high number of COVID cases and high rates of diabetes. And then we can save the card by pressing Share, and we can call it COVID and Diabetes, and we can publish this card to either or both of the reports that we created. Now let's go back to our stories, and we can share this with the collaborators we're about to have the meeting with. Here we can see the maps that we just created. Alright, so we've talked about how to have conversations with data and how to build larger indicator reports. In summary, we are bringing community data into your stakeholder conversations through stories and maps. customize with branding, and get a head start on your CHNA IRS requirements. So as you can see, there's a lot you can do with BroadStreet to streamline your CHNA process. BroadStreet is free to get started, and we have transparent pricing on our pricing page. Larger organizations are welcome to sponsor smaller ones, and coupons for discounts are always available. Our genuine hope is that you can get the data right away. After all, it's not just for the report, but the discussions beforehand. We believe that by working together, we can make the process faster, easier, and better so your organization can prioritize the health of your community. If you have any questions, please email hello@broadstreet.io. Thank you all for joining today. I hope you learned how to create a community health needs assessment with BroadStreet.